first title fight of the evening, a defense of the featherweight title. Cage Warriors title in contention this evening. This to be contested over 5 5-minute rounds. It is a win by KO, submission, referee stoppage, judges decision. Introducing, firstly, the challenger to you. Coming from Finland, weighing in at 65.6 kilos and representing Team Scandinavia. Please welcome a man who brings to the ring 12 fights, 9 wins with 2 losses. Welcome, Tom Niinimaki. To do devastation inside the octagon, representing the UK and representing Total Dojo. Weighing in at 65.3 kilos, he brings to the octagon 14 fights, 6 wins and 6 losses with 2 draws. The defending champion, welcome, Batten. Stand by for action inside the octagon.
It's our first championship fight tonight. We've got the featherweight title on the line, newly won by Danny Batten on our last show against Emmanuel Fernandez.
Good win for Danny, and this should be an exciting fight. Danny is a submission machine.
He just keeps throwing them submissions, one after another, until one lands.
I think that's what a submission fight should be like.
Tom, on the other hand, he's got some good striking, he's got some good wrestling, and he likes to take that top position and punish his opponent.
Yeah, he's usually pretty aggressive, so I'd be interested to see how Danny can handle that aggression, really.
It's like they're the ideal opponent for each other. Danny likes the other guy to take top position so he can work off his back, get his submissions. Tom likes the guy to fall on his back so he can throw down those strikes.
Yeah. It's clear which one's the striker. If you look at Danny, his chin's up in the air. He overreaches for his strikes compared to Tom, whose chin's nice and tucked. Doesn't commit to anything that he isn't going to land. So, superb striker.
Danny, I mean, he landed his low kick, but with almost no effect. Tom just stalking him, taking his time. When that right hand went through there, Danny backed off, turned his head away. I think you're right there on the striking pedigree.
You can see straight away just where his chin is. Dangerous to put your chin so high up. You're basically hanging out to get caught.
Almost found himself in a lot of trouble right there. Overcommitted with that kick, ended up with his back turned right in front of Tom. I'm surprised Tom didn't take advantage of it.
Yeah, I would expect that both fighters are aiming to use this first round to feel out. With it being a title fight, they've got plenty of time to work your opponent out.
Absolutely, don't want to go in there at too high a pace when you've got to stay there for 25 minutes.
Yeah, and it's good that Danny's coming as the new champion. How did the fight go with Fernandez?
Danny again worked from his back, kept throwing those submissions, and late in the second round managed to land that triangle.
Superb. Getting a triangle on Fernandez is quite an achievement as well.
Absolutely, you don't really expect to catch somebody with his own technique. Still the same sort of thing. Tom, he's taking the middle of the ring, he's stalking. Danny trying to work out from the cage, but finding himself driven back straight away.
I think it's clear that Tom really is controlling the fight at the moment. He's controlling the tempo, he's controlling the position. So, he's going to stack up the points doing this. Danny needs to start putting his game into action.
But is he going to stack up the points if he's not throwing those strikes? I mean, he's stalking him, he's controlling the cage, but he's not trying to finish the fight.
If everything else is even, ring generalmanship's got to be one of the decision
nice
points.
front kick, puts Danny on his back.
Yeah, but Danny's happy here.
Well, as I said, he likes to work off his back.
I'm sure he doesn't like to catch strikes like that, though.
I don't think anybody likes to catch strikes like that. We might be having flashbacks of the Muhammad El Aouji fight.
Yeah.
Again, very similar styles, Niinimaki here to El Aouji, which doesn't bode well for Danny, who lost that his comeback fight.
Yeah, he did, and I think Danny's now on his back, but he doesn't look comfortable right at the moment. I'm sure he will do now. He's back to guard. and I expect he'll start hunting for submissions, but whether Tom can keep throwing those strikes to keep him off his submission game.
He definitely throws them all with meaning. He throws them all with mean intentions.
That's the way to throw strikes. If you're not going to throw your strike to knock somebody out, especially in mixed martial arts, you're not going to have too much success with it.
They're precise, they're powerful. He's dominant. He seems to be just crushing Danny, not letting Danny move at all. You can see the power difference.
Definitely. He's just making sure that Danny is uncomfortable, and that's one of the keys to throwing strikes from the top game.
Danny there looking to spin round, try and work for the submission, but Tom, he's having none of it. He doesn't even seem to be worried by these submission attempts.
No, I think he's focused on his striking game. I think basically he just wants to land solid strikes. And you've got to give him the round up to this point, so Danny needs to start working.
Well, definitely, he put him on the ground with that kick. He's been pounding him from the moment he decided to go down to the ground with him. He's controlled the fight. He's hurt Danny, whereas Danny's done nothing to him.
Yeah, they're solid strikes as well, and he almost got the leg throw pass then.
Danny moves his legs really well, and his hips as well. I think this surface, this mat helps him. It's quite slippy, so it does allow him to work well off his back.
Yeah, you can see as well that he uses all of his limbs, his arms, his legs. There's always contact there. He's always trying to keep his opponent.
They have to be hurt at this point. I mean, he's moved to almost to half mount. Each one of those strikes looks like it could potentially knock him out.
Yeah.
Danny trying to peck him back from his back there, but I don't think that Tom's even going to notice that sort of strike.
And well, he nearly got past then if he'd been a little bit more active. But Danny's there looking for submissions. Really, he's looking for the position to grab that leg. Goes for the armbar.
I think this round's over. Even if he had managed to land that, I don't think he'd have had time to finish it.
Yeah, you've got to clearly give that round to Tom, and Danny's cut as well.
Absolutely, the Finnish fighter totally dominant in that round.
And that cut doesn't look too serious, but
it is above
it's going
the
to be
eye.
a worry. Yeah, it depends how much blood's going to pour. If they can stop it bleeding, it won't be a problem. But I'm sure Tom will try and take advantage of that in the second round.
Both fighters still look fresh, breathing a little heavily, as to be expected at the end of the round, but nothing to worry about.
I think after the first round, fighters usually come out with a second win, so I expect to see a bit more fire on the feet from Tom in this second round.
But does he even need it? Danny's still gonna try and work off his back, and you saw how unworried he was by those submission attempts.
Yeah, I just think Tom would probably like to come here and take the title the right way, which is a stoppage win.
Absolutely. I mean, he looks determined, same as he did in his first fight here in Cage Warriors. He comes out. He has a look in his eye. He looks like he's going to go out there and he wants to finish this off.
He looks like a fighter.
He's certainly that.
Danny's got quite a bit of Vaseline on his face and on his head. Sure.
Trying to stop that bleeding, hoping those punches will slip off. But if Tom decides to aim for that cut, could be a finish for Danny, could be a worry for Danny.
And I'm sure that's what Tom's thinking as well. I'm sure Tom's working out a plan to get to that cut and open it up a bit further. Both fighters have been very cautious here. I don't think Danny wants to get landed with a great low kick.
No, I'm not sure it had as much power as what it looked like. I think
It seems to welt it up.
It does, yeah. He's marking up already. Danny maybe has a little more power than I thought in those low kicks.
I think that one. But still, both fighters very cautious.
Tom not quite taking the same, showing the same ring generalmanship. He's not controlling the centre of the ring as much as he was in the first round.
Yeah, and again, if you're a striker and you're on your feet, this is the opportunity you've got to show your skills and show your game. If he's not throwing the strikes now, when is he going to throw them?
Again, maybe he's worrying a little about this whole 5 rounds. First time he's fought a 5-round fight. 25 minutes is long.
It is a long time, but if you're going to fight for a title, then you should be fit enough to go for those 5 rounds.
Absolutely, you have to prepare. The 4th and 5th are the championship rounds. If you want to win a championship, you have to be ready to fight the championship rounds.
Exactly right. I'm sure in training he's doing 8, 9, 10 rounds So he should manage to make the 5 rounds. Some good solid kicks going in.
Now we see a little more of what we saw in the earlier rounds. Tom's taking that step forwards. Danny's got his back to the cage.
He's driving him back. Danny does look quite nervous about the strikes, which is probably very wise.
Well, Tom looks like a powerful fighter for 65 kilo. He obviously cuts a little weight.
I think so, yeah. You can see it in the shoulders and the chest. He's got the power. And he is throwing, when he throws the strikes, he's throwing them to do the damage, which is important.
Danny, on the other hand, I mean, he's throwing them out there, but he's not got his range. He's letting himself get beaten in this fight right now, Danny. Well, slip there from Tom.
Slip. It's good that Danny didn't take advantage of that.
It's a fight all the same. If he had, who are we to criticise?
True. Those low kicks that Danny are throwing aren't particularly technically great, but they are doing the damage. I mean, you can see the marking on Tom's legs already.
Here you see the difference. He comes through with those punches. Nice little combination. Even went to the body with a couple of them.
Yeah, the problem is he swamped his work a bit there, and he's ended up exactly where Danny Batten wants to be, which is in the grapple. So, you know, trying to land those strikes, you still got to be aware to keep your distance.
I'm not sure that Tom's too afraid of grappling either. He's obviously a solid wrestler. He got the takedown there into half mount. He's in a position now where he can sit up and he can punish Danny a little more, the same as in the first round.
Yeah, I personally think half guard is a superb striker's position. You can pin that arm and you can unleash some real powerful shots.
Danny did well there, retook guard. He found his little distance, spun around.
He's in butterfly guard here, which I think Danny's quite good at using, so I wonder whether he can use it to get a sweep or get some submissions.
It's something we're seeing more and more in MMA today, is the butterfly guard. I think personally, I think it's the ideal guard to use. You control the distance so well. The closed guard is almost like you're stalling. I think really in MMA, there's no better than butterfly guard.
I agree, to be honest. I think Tom's done the right thing there. He's landed some strikes, done some damage, get the fight backed up. The crowd like that as well.
Absolutely, the crowd love to see the stand-up fight. They love to see these guys throwing down.
As you can see, Danny's still got his chin floating up quite high. I'm sure Tom's thinking of a battle plan to get to that chin and do some damage.
His chin's high, his elbows are out. It's obvious he doesn't have the same striking pedigree as Tom does.
Yeah, he's quite flat-footed as well. If you see Tom's constantly on his toes.
That said, I'd like to see Tom using it some more.
Yeah, he's not using the skills that he's got there, which is, you know, this is his game. Striking's his game, so he needs to make it count.
Yeah, it seems to be a little too inactive, too cautious.
In his final 10 seconds, though, I think you've still got to give Tom this second round, so he's on his way to the win in the title.
Whenever it did go to the ground, he managed to land those strikes. He landed the strike standing. Danny hasn't been able to open up the submission repertoire. That's 2-0 to Tom for me. Yeah,
I mean, part of these fights is who can make their game plan work, and it's clear that Tom's game plan is to strike, and he's doing so, and Danny's is to grapple, and unfortunately he's not done so far.
And even if he has, he's been dominated during the grappling situations because of Tom's strikes.
Exactly. I mean, putting arm bars on, putting triangles on is one thing, but putting them on while somebody's punching you in the face, it's a different
game altogether. Special mention for our lovely ring girls this evening, Jenna and Abby.
They are lovely as well.
Last few seconds here, it's time to come out here for the third round. The last of the standard rounds.
Yeah, hopefully Danny's going to do some action here, because he needs to.
Mark a little not too happy about the amount of Vaseline being used there.
Which appeared to be less than the last round, but he didn't spot it in the last round. So. And Danny's got to make his game plan work now, because the last thing he wants to do is give away 3 rounds. So this round is really going to count.
Absolutely. If he does that, then Tommy, all he has to do is not get finished, and it's his.
Yeah.
That would be a horrible way to lose your title.
I saw a nice jumping punch there, a Thai boxing move.
Not something you see work a lot, but Maybe he's a little short on ideas right now.
I'm pretty sure that he is wondering how he's going to make this fight turn his direction, and I don't think it's going to be striking, so he needs to start going for these takedowns. He needs to get it to the ground, and he needs to start looking for submissions.
Well, one way I can see it turning in Danny's direction is quite simply about cardio. I've never ever seen Danny get tired. In all the fights I've seen him in, I've never seen him get tired.
And you look at him now, although he's sweating, which you would expect, he isn't breathing heavy, he looks calm, he looks confident. So maybe this is where the championship turns as we get into the later rounds.
It's definitely a possibility, yeah. With a fighter like Danny, because he is so dangerous off his back, you never know what's going to happen. Even if Tom was to continue his domination there, there's always the chance that Danny's going to come back and finish this.
Yeah. I don't know what Tom's background is in striking, but his defence to the low kick it is a little lacking. I would have thought it would have been better. He hasn't shin-checked any of Danny's kicks so far. He's taken them all on his thigh.
I think you're being quite kind there, and I would call it a little non-existent.
Exactly. And Danny using the back kick there.
That said, you can see that he's obviously used to taking strikes. Danny threw that back kick almost in desperation. He took it full on, didn't even slow him down, didn't slow his progress.
It's something that you see with strikers, that it's not just throwing strikes, but it's how you take the strike, how you can move with the strike when it's thrown back at you. And Tom is a very intelligent striker, so he's rolling with those punches and strikes.
It's having the right reflexes. It's not turning your head. It's not blinking when you get thrown, when that punch gets thrown at you.
A couple of nice body kicks there.
It looks like he's winding up that right hand, but Danny moving well there, not allowing him to set it off.
I think one of the problems here is that Tom's initiating the strikes, they have a flurry, and then Danny's looking for a way out of that rather than looking for a way to take it to the ground. So it looks like Tom's winning the fight because of that.
I think that Danny may be a little too confident in this striking. At this point, he really should be looking for a takedown. He's losing the striking game.
Yeah, I hope his game plan is to get it into the 4th and 5th and start using his own skills. Because if he continues like this, he could lose on points, and that's the worst way to lose your title.
How disgusted would he be to lose his title like that in his first title defence?
I think that's very disappointing, because on points you realise that maybe you should have done some more. You get submitted or you get knocked out, you've done everything you could have, really.
Especially after doing what very few people expected him to do. Very few people expected him to beat Emmanuel Fernandez, and even less expected him to submit him. Yeah,
I mean, Fernandez has fought the best. I mean, he's got his rematch this evening against Lee Remedios, and you know, with a win over Lee Remedios, it's clear that Fernandez has got the skills. So for Danny to get that win over him, superb fighter, superb grappler. And that's what surprises me at the way this fight's going. He's not using his skills.
After having achieved that, it would be just so disappointed for him and for us to see him lose a title because he was inactive.
Yeah, I don't like to see champions lose because of that. You know, a champion needs to come out and
get beaten.
Yeah, he needs to come out and win his championship every time he fights. It looks as though Tom's suffering from sweat on his feet there, which might slow his striking game out.
If he is, then I mean he's definitely not going to have the same power behind him, because you have to have your good solid base in order to throw them strikes.
Yeah, it reminds me of King of the Cage, Wet and Wild. I don't know whether you have seen that.
I missed that one. I did see the Playboy Wet and Wild calendar, but I don't think that's in the same category.
Not really.
See, Tom seems to have some power in those leg kicks as well.
He does. I think his kicks are actually technically better kicks than Danny's, but Danny's seem to be doing more damage, and I think it's more a case of Tom's defence is pretty poor to the low kicks. But at the moment, Danny is giving this fight away.
He's been a little more aggressive this round, but he's just not been effective enough.
Yeah, you know, again, it's a tougher round to actually score this round, but you know, I could understand why somebody would go with Tom. So who